Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and felt a cold weight in your chest while wondering if the money in your bank account is actually enough to protect you? It is the year 2026, and the world feels more unpredictable than ever before. Prices at the grocery store seem to climb every single month, and the news is filled with talk about the instability of Social Security and the rising cost of living. For those of us over the age of 55, these are not just headlines on a screen. They are direct threats to our peace of mind and our future independence. We have spent decades working hard, raising families, and playing by the rules. Yet many of us still feel like we are standing on shaky ground. But what if I told you there is a specific number that changes everything? A number that acts as a fortress around your future and a tipping point where your money finally stops being something you chase and starts being something that works for you. That number is $100,000. In this discussion, we are going to pull back the curtain on why this specific milestone is the most important one you will ever reach. It is not about being rich or buying a luxury car. It is about building the final shield for your retirement. We will explore the cold, hard math of why the first 100,000 is the hardest to get, but also why everything accelerates once you cross that line. If you have ever felt like you started too late or like you are pushing a giant boulder up a steep hill, you need to hear this. Because the truth is, quality of life in your later years does not come from guesswork. It comes from understanding the physics of wealth. Let us start by addressing the elephant in the room. Why does building wealth feel so incredibly slow in the beginning? If you are 55 or older and your savings account does not have six figures yet, you might feel a sense of shame or frustration. But I want you to listen closely. It is not your fault. It is just the way the math of money is designed. When you are starting from zero or even $10,000, your progress depends 100% on your own labor. Every dollar you save is a dollar you had to sweat for, a dollar you had to earn by trading your precious time. At this stage, your money is lazy because there's not enough of it to do anything on its own. Think of it like trying to start a fire by rubbing two sticks together in the rain. It takes maximum effort for a tiny flickering spark, and the moment you stop rubbing, the heat disappears. This is what we call the grind phase, and for most Americans in 2026, this is where they spend their entire lives. They save a little, life happens, they spend a little, and they never reach the critical mass required for the magic to happen. But $100,000 is that critical mass. It is the point where the fire finally catches the heavy logs and begins to roar on its own. Let us look at the real numbers that the big banks rarely explain to us in plain English. Imagine you have $10,000 invested and you earn a solid 10% return in a year. That is $1,000 in profit. While that is nice, it does not change your life. It barely covers a single month of groceries in today's economy. But now, imagine you have reached that $100,000 milestone. That same 10% return now brings in $10,000 in a single year. Think about that for a moment. $10,000 is often more than what an average person can manage to save from their paycheck after taxes and bills. Suddenly, your money has produced an entire year's worth of your own labor without you lifting a single finger. This is the moment your money becomes your employee, a silent worker that never sleeps, never gets sick, and never asks for a raise. For someone in their mid-50s, reaching this point is like finally reaching the top of a mountain. The climb was grueling, but now you are on the other side, and gravity starts to work in your favor. Data from the last few decades shows a fascinating pattern that every retiree needs to understand. It typically takes the average disciplined saver about 7 to 8 years of hard work to reach their first $100,000. However, reaching the second $100,000 often takes only 4 or 5 years. The third $100,000 can arrive in as little as 3 years. You're not working twice as hard to get those results. In fact, you might be working less. The acceleration happens because compounding is no longer an abstract theory. It is a physical force acting on your balance. When you reach 100,000, you have moved from a linear world into an exponential one. But I know what you're thinking. How do I get there if I'm starting late in 2026? The world has changed, and the old advice of just saving 10% of your income might not be enough anymore. We need to use 3 specific levers to move that boulder faster: offense, defense, and efficiency. Offense is about your income. At 55 or 60, you have something a 20-year-old does not have: 3 decades of specialized experience and wisdom. In this modern economy, that wisdom is a commodity that can be sold. Whether it is consulting, freelancing, or turning a long-term hobby into a small side business, increasing your income by just an extra $500 a month can shave years off your journey to 100,000. Next is defense. And this is where most people fail because of lifestyle inflation. We are bombarded with advertisements telling us we deserve a new car or a bigger house. But the sage understands that a car is a depreciating asset that steals your future freedom. Every time you say no to an unnecessary luxury today, you are saying yes to a decade of peace later in life. True defense is about protecting your gap, which is the difference between what you earn and what you spend. Finally, there is efficiency. And in 2026, this is more important than ever. Is your money sitting in a traditional bank account earning 0.01% interest? If it is, the bank is getting rich off your money while inflation eats your purchasing power. Efficiency means moving your cash to high-yield accounts or index funds, where it can actually fight back against rising prices. It means taking advantage of catch-up contributions in your retirement accounts that the government allows for people over 50. These are the tools of the strategist, not the gambler. Let us talk about the psychological shift that happens when you cross that six-figure line. Before 100,000, money is often a source of anxiety and a reminder of what you lack. But after 100,000, money becomes a source of options. It is the power to say no. No to a toxic boss who makes your life miserable. No to a job that is destroying your health. No to the fear of a medical emergency or a broken water heater. $100,000 does not mean you are retired, but it does mean you are no longer a prisoner to your next paycheck. It provides a level of psychological safety that allows you to breathe, to think clearly, and to make better decisions for your family. For Mr. Steward, the man who feels he has run out of time, this is the message of hope. You do not need $1 million to start feeling the benefits of wealth building. You just need to reach the tipping point. Once you are there, the math takes over and the stress begins to melt away. But you must be disciplined because the world is designed to take that money back from you. High fees, bad advice, and impulsive spending are the enemies of your retirement shield. You must treat your first 100,000 like a sacred seed. If you eat the seed, you will never have the harvest. But if you plant it, protect it, and let it grow, it will eventually provide enough shade for your entire family. As we move further into 2026, the gap between those who understand these principles and those who do not will only grow wider. The cost of healthcare and housing will not wait for us to get our finances in order. We must act with a sense of urgency, but also with the patience of a master gardener. Remember, the best time to start was 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now. Every dollar you save today is a soldier in your future army. Every smart decision you make is a brick in your fortress. Do not let the complexity of the financial world intimidate you. At its core, wealth is simple. Earn more than you spend, invest the difference wisely, and let time do the heavy lifting. If you are currently at 10,000, 50,000, or 80,000, keep going. You are closer than you think to the point where the wind finally gets at your back. When you reach 100,000, take a moment to realize what you have achieved. You have broken the cycle of survival and entered the world of accumulation. You have built a shield that will protect you when you are no longer able or willing to work. And that, my friend, is the greatest gift you can give to your future self. Focus on the math, trust the process, and ignore the noise of the crowd. Your future is not determined by the economy. It is determined by the systems you put in place today. Keep building your shield. Stay disciplined. Stay wise. And most importantly, stay focused on the milestone that changes everything. The journey to 100,000 is a test of character, but the reward is a lifetime of freedom. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Now, take the first step toward your own $100,000 shield.